Well, look, I think the resignation that we've just seen of Dominic Raab is very bad for our democracy. I think on a wider point, society at the moment, I think people are generally too soft, too weak, too sensitive, get worried about stuff that in the grand scheme of things really doesn't matter. And I've just been determined to avoid be drawn into that sort of victimhood mentality, which is why I watch so little TV nowadays, because everyone seems to have a sub story or something to whinge about or complain about or be negative about. There's no way really to live your life. Of course, each to their own, but when it starts affecting the way that the country is run, I think this becomes much more serious. Already, since the Raab resignation, as Alex Wickham now reports, civil servants considering, it seems, filing more formal bullying complaints against 2 more ministers. As for what the hell is going on inside our civil service, I mean, you only have to look at stuff like this, really. Civil servants apparently getting the day off for a vegan network event, whatever the hell that is. As for the track record that we've seen in terms of the civil service and political neutrality, I mean, just a few examples I can pick out here. This was one of the most shocking I remember, is that you had Joe Pike there reporting that Labour, not the media, the Labour Party there apparently were being contacted by civil servants in the Home Office and other departments with allegations against Priti Patel. Yeah, that's very non-political, isn't it? Very professional. Example where Suella Braverman, when she became Home Secretary, apparently upset civil servants. This one really took the biscuit. The Home Secretary apparently prompted consternation among Home Office officials by telling them she wanted to stop illegal migrant boats crossing the channel. I mean, yeah, how controversial is that, eh? Look, Dominic Raab resigning, as I said, I think this is very, very bad for our democracy. And when you actually go through all of this, Dominic Raab, in a Telegraph article, that as Justice Secretary, he had left senior officials feeling insulted on 3 occasions because of direct feedback, saying he believes this decision now is flawed and sets a dangerous precedent that will paralyse the ability of ministers to deliver for the British people. Saying he was subject to trial by media for 6 months, fuelled by warped and fabricated accounts leaked by anonymous officials. That when he returned to the MOJ, a senior civil servant ordered the removal of private secretaries who worked for him beforehand, saying they were suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, and that private secretaries who objected were given no choice. He said they had Stockholm Syndrome. One of the adverse findings being that his feedback to civil servants was overly critical, leaving those concerned feeling insulted, even though he had not personalised his criticism, nor intended to upset anyone, and was unaware of the offence cause. And again, he says there the precedent sets the playbook for a small number of officials to target ministers. I mean, really, this is all quite pathetic in my view. And the cross-party reaction actually to this has been, for instance, from Labour MP Graham Stringer, saying that he finds effectively civil servants sacking a minister quietly disturbing, because he says one of the great myths in our political life is that we have a non-political civil service. Reform UK leader there, Richard Tice, saying quite clear some civil servants acted deliberately to bring him down. Some civil servants are wet snowflakes who cannot cope with modest criticism about their performance. These civil servants would not last 5 minutes in the private sector where performance and accountability is essential. And there you have some feedback from Telegraph readers, for instance, over 15,000, 74% of them thinking it was wrong that Raab had to quit. The man himself speaking to GB News, and I'll play a clip from that interview, guys. But as I said, I think this is bad for our democracy. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think it was right that Dominic Raab resigned over this or not? Watch this clip, then let me know in the comments below.
You talk about a tyranny of hurt feelings, but do you think it might go even further than that? Do you think that perhaps civil servants coordinated a campaign to remove you, a political campaign?
Well, there was certainly some coordination. One of the complaints was struck out because they'd written it together. Look, put it this way. These claims, some of them were 4.5 years old. Another one was 2.5 years old. The vast majority were 8 months old. They were all submitted on the same day. Which is the 15th of November. I think a few came just a little bit later. That can't be coincidental. But I only know what I know. And I also know that I was warned by a very senior member of the government, a senior civil servant, that there are increasingly activist civil servants mobilised by the FDA union who are looking to target ministers. But all I know is that I think the bar has been so lowered now that the government we've got, and I'm a huge fan and supporter of the Prime Minister, is going to struggle to drive forward the changes we need. There'll be a chilling effect, a paralysing effect on ministers. I'm already, my phone is lit up by ministers now very concerned that they could be accused of these things for behaviour that in most walks of life would be regarded as important managerial scrutiny. And I think that must be wrong.